Before we begin the story that has echoed through millennia, before we explore the impossible, before we reveal the journey of a man whose life was rewritten by fate and a command from beyond, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Imagine standing alone in a quiet desert at first light, the horizon stretching endlessly, the air still, and the weight of a divine whisper settling on your soul. There, in that barren expanse, stands a man, we'll call him Jonah. A man known in his town as thoughtful, capable, and reverent, yet in his heart, there is a struggle far deeper than the miles of sand beneath his feet. God's command comes like sudden lightning in a cloudless sky: go to the great city of Nineveh, a sprawling metropolis of power and terror, and deliver a warning of judgment, for its people have lost their way. Jonah freezes, torn between duty and fear, between obedience and self-preservation. Nineveh is the heart of an empire that has crushed kingdoms and enslaved countless people. The people of Jonah's homeland have felt its sting. Jonah knows the city's reputation. Yet the word comes with divine authority. And in a moment of hesitation that will change everything, Jonah stands at the edge of that sunrise, unsure of how to face a destiny that seems written for someone else. Instead of heading toward the city, Jonah walks west, toward the sea, to the port of Joppa, where ships sail across the Mediterranean. He carries a small satchel and uncertainty heavy in his chest. He boards a wooden vessel bound for Tarshish, a distant land whispered about as almost mythic in its remoteness. He hopes that distance will hide him from the command he cannot yet obey. But storms of fate often have their own plans. No sooner has the ship left the harbor than the wind begins to change. The sky dims, gusts lash the rigging, and a tempest unlike any the sailors have seen rises from the depths. Waves tower over the hull, threatening to swallow it whole. Jonah, below deck, sleeps fitfully, unaware of the chaos above. The sailors cry out to their gods, tighten ropes, fight the storm, until lots are cast, and Jonah's guilt is revealed. He confesses, he is running from God. And with grim resolve, he tells them to throw him into the sea. The storm ceases as he falls, the sea settles as if obeying an invisible command. Jonah sinks into depths dark and vast, every breath a struggle. Then, in a single, impossible moment, a colossal sea creature swallows him. For 3 days and 3 nights, he remains in its belly, alone with the rhythm of his own heartbeat, wrestling with regret, fear, and the flickering flame of hope. He prays, acknowledging his flight, giving thanks for survival, and promising obedience to the calling he once rejected. And in the space between life and what seemed like oblivion, he begins to change. Then, the creature carries him to the surface, releases him upon dry land. Jonah emerges, soaked, exhausted, yet alive. He stands on the sand, breathing the open air, tasting freedom he almost forfeited. The path he feared now lies before him, unavoidable. He sets out toward Nineveh, ready to fulfill the mission he once ran from, carrying a message that will shake the foundations of a great city. The citizens of Nineveh, men and women clothed in traditional robes that speak of their station and culture, lean forward with rapt attention, each gesture of Jonah emphasizing urgency and conviction. They have heard rumors of judgment, whispers that their actions have not gone unnoticed, yet to see the prophet before them, alive and unwavering, is both terrifying and mesmerizing. Faces that were once indifferent now display a spectrum of emotion, eyes widening in disbelief, mouths opening to murmur questions, hands gripping the edges of marketplace stalls as they try to process the gravity of what is being said. Jonah's tone is measured, each syllable deliberate, carrying a sense of divine authority, but also a human empathy that pierces the walls of pride. The city seems to hold its collective breath, caught between past wrongdoing and the hope that redemption may still be possible. In the royal court, the king himself, a man accustomed to command and authority, kneels in sackcloth, humble and sorrowful, embodying the shift that has swept through the city. His advisors and citizens surround him, joining in prayer and fasting, their faces etched with reflection and fear of the consequences that had loomed like shadows over their lives. The weight of leadership has never felt so tangible, and yet the act of humility resonates across the streets, as if the very air of Nineveh has been transformed by their willingness to seek forgiveness. Jonah observes silently, understanding that true change is not merely in words spoken, but in the quiet surrender of pride and the conscious choice to embrace mercy over defiance. The city, once known for dominance and fear, now bends in unity toward something larger than themselves, an acknowledgement of accountability, and the possibility of a new path forward. As the sun rises higher, casting warm, golden light across the wide streets of Nineveh, the transformation becomes visible not only in the gestures of the king or the citizens, but in the subtler moments: a child bowing in reverence next to an elder, hands clasped tightly in prayer, eyes shut in concentration, families pausing from their daily routines to acknowledge the change occurring within their hearts. Jonah sees the collective repentance, the genuine desire to amend wrongs and embrace a better way. The city, alive with movement, now breathes with purpose and intention, each person participating in a silent chorus of reflection and hope. It is in these moments that the scope of mercy becomes clear: how one voice, guided by truth and conviction, can ignite change across thousands, creating a ripple that will define the destiny of an entire civilization. Even as the city heals and the people embrace a newfound humility, Jonah himself retreats to a hill overlooking Nineveh, brown hair catching the soft morning light, robe draped loosely over his shoulders, his gaze fixed on the vastness below. He reflects on the journey that brought him here, the storm-tossed seas, the engulfing depths of the creature that saved him, the lessons learned through fear and surrender. A leafy green plant, which had offered shade and comfort, wilts under the sun's heat, symbolizing the transient nature of relief and the deeper truths that endure. Jonah's disappointment is not in the city's redemption, but in his struggle to reconcile human expectation with divine mercy. In the quiet of this reflective moment, the magnitude of what he has witnessed settles over him, a reminder that true change often emerges not through force or fear, but through the patient, persistent cultivation of awareness, compassion, and the courage to act when it matters most. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos.